Welcome, this is Ominous Bequest by Eshaktaar, or Renzo Thönen. It's a somewhat old mission, but one of my very favorites. Here's the backstory. To achieve his goals, he cast aside the oath he had sworn. 3 went out to oppose the threat. Where they had failed, the ignorant one would succeed. Keeper Annals. I was contacted by a man named Grimworth, a dealer in antiques who offered me an interesting proposal. Lord Robert Farrington, an eccentric collector and well-known sympathizer of the Hammerites, passed away some days ago. His 2 sons are currently arguing over the inheritance because the late Lord's testament has not been found yet. The place used to be heavily guarded, which is one of the reasons I haven't paid it a visit before. But Farrington's sons have refused to continue paying the considerably large crew of guards. A great number of them quit already, and others have gone on strike. Grimworth knows that Lord Farrington possessed numerous invaluable artifacts, but his offers to buy any of these relics have been turned down by Robert. Now that Farrington is dead, Grimworth wants me to find the Lord's last will and steal all the items mentioned in it. No doubt the testament will list the most valuable relics of Robert's heritage. As an addition, Grimworth would like to know if the rumors about ancient quarters of a long-forgotten mage's order below the manor are true. If I can find documents that confirm this and perchance even retrieve information about a supposed way to get in, Grimworth would be willing to pay a considerable bonus. The antique dealer wants me to return with this info so he can verify it. After that, if the information seemed to be authentic, he'd hire me for a second, even more lucrative job, which would involve finding and entering the Mage's Order. Later that night, today's certainly not my lucky day. I was about to climb over the southern wall to the Lord's estate when several loose bricks under my feet gave way. I managed not to break anything when I landed on the other side, but half my equipment fell down outside, completely out of my reach. Now I'm inside Farrington's estate, but without my blackjack and just a couple of broadheads in my quiver. Guess I'm going to have to find some other means of replacement inside the manor. I can't risk postponing the job. I have to get that testament and the items listed on it before the heirs do. Ominous Bequest Gold. Half of your equipment fell down the wrong side of the wall. At least try to find a replacement for your blackjack. Lord Farrington's testament must be hidden somewhere in his manor. Retrieve it before anyone else gets close to it. Find some information that confirms the rumors about quarters of an ancient mage's order below the manor. While you're here, grab at least 5,000 worth of loot. Only amateurs leave a trail of blood behind them. Don't kill anyone. You can't leave the compound through the front gate. After you've completed all other objectives, find another way out.
Damn, I didn't mean for that to happen.
Okay. Let's find a way in. That's the way in.
No will.
The door's to the coal chute. But, that guy's looking right at it, so we need to find a way to distract him, and this is how. We turn on the sprinklers. He'll walk back to the shed to turn them off, and we'll use the time we bought to pick the lock.
What's this? Inside at last.
Okay, we're in the boiler room.
Saw something there. Oh well, back to work.
Now, I believe up these stairs is the kitchen, where we'll find
Yes?
our
Anyone there?
replacement of the blackjack. This note here hints at it. To all guard personnel, this kitchen is not a self-service restaurant. If you're hungry, go to the mess room or kindly ask one of the servants to get something to eat for you. The kitchen is supposed to be clean and tidy all the time. The Lord does not want people with muddy boots trampling around in here and touching everything with their dirty hands. The next person I catch helping himself to a snack in here will feel my skillet on his head. The cook. I'm waiting for another servant to come in. He'll be...
Nobody better be
Oh,
tapping
forgot about
around.
him, somehow. Ah. I think that's the guy I was expecting. Whatever. We're in the wine cellar, and there's a note here. When 8 switches are blocking your way, look to the stars for guidance. Only then will you find the rest of me. That's interesting, but not very relevant right now. A bit low on equipment, so we'll go into this weapon lockup to get some stuff. There, good to go.
Hey Tubbs, another wine bottle was stolen from the cellar last night. Wesley was found unconscious down there. He said someone had hit him on the head with a pan or something, but he hadn't been able to see the person. I wonder why Captain Buxley keeps defending that drunkard Benny. The whole staff knows he's got a drinking problem, and that he lost his former job because of it. True, we haven't caught Benny being drunk on duty yet, but I bet he's keeping those bottles in his locker. That's why he snarls at everybody who even looks at it. Maybe you could check what's in the locker when Benny's not there. Todd.
What the hell?
Just one move, Chopper.
Now, our old friend Benny is over there by the lockers.
Time for the...
Whatever. Try this again. Okay. Sorry, buddy. Entry 1. So this is my first entry in here. Now what to write? I know some people start every whatever with Dear Diary, but me thinks that's stupid. Jorik told me keeping a diary was a good idea. Should keep me from drinking when I'm bored, he said. That reminds me, where did I put that last bottle of wine again? Entry 2. Looks like this new job's gonna be fun, sort of. Joseph Buxley, the captain of the guard, took the time to show me around on my first day. And during today's lunch, he introduced me to the guard staff. It's quite a large crew. I think they like me already. People tapped me on the shoulder when Buxley told them that I was caught being drunk on duty on my last job. Oh well, I'll try not to drink too much this time. Entry 8. It's been a week since I started guard duty here. Looks like I've finally found a job that lasts longer than just a few days. Every morning the captain gives patrol routes for everybody to keep the manor safe against thieves. Today I had to guard a banner. That was strange. Entry 9. Boring, 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 boring. I'm still bored. I wonder if the Lord keeps some good bottles of wine in his cellar. Entry 22. I can't get into that stupid uniform. My colleagues are taffing at me, but I swear it's not my waistline causing me trouble. It's the damn laundry. They probably kept my uniform in the water for too long, and now it's shrunk in 2 sizes, at least. I have to keep the buckle of my belt open, otherwise I'm unable to breathe. Entry 23. I don't like walking past that barred door. Gives me the shivers. On my last patrol, I thought I heard some strange noises coming from it, but the room behind it has been empty for years. Something to do with the Lord's mother, the others told me. Entry 30. When I woke up today morning, the house was shaking. No, it wasn't because I'd been drinking too much the night before. I haven't touched a drink for a long time. But anyway, it was an earthquake strong enough to make the swords fall out of their racks. Something to do with the crypts below the manor, Buxley told me. Entry 31. Sad news. Lord Farrington died yesterday. He suffered from a heart attack while he was having some business in the city, Kevel told me. They brought the coffin with the body this morning and put it in the family crypt. I'm glad somebody else has to do the death watch. Those old corridors are spooky. Guard duty goes on as usual. Farrington's 2 sons will arrive here tomorrow. Entry 35. Today I caught Tubbs staring at my locker. That stupid Taffer has some nerve. I told him to get away from my my stuff and mind his own business. Since yesterday, several bottles of fine wine are missing from the cellar, and just because they know about my little drinking problem, they think I did it. Good thing the captain came to my defense. He told the others I had been patrolling outside the manor at the time the bottles had been stolen. That was really nice of him. Maybe I'll catch him later for a beer. Well, better not. Entry 37. Things don't look that good. Lord Farrington's sons want to reduce the personnel and cut down the salary as well. A couple of guards went on strike after this, and some of them already quit their job. I have to keep an eye on my locker. With half of the crew protesting outside, this could be an ideal chance for a thief to break in. But this time I'm prepared, and I'll show the sneaking crook how I deal with the likes of him. Nobody steals anything from Benny and gets away with it. obligatory poking through the lockers. Hands off property of Benny. There's nothing in there I want. Oh, hidden switch. There's gonna be a lot of those in this manor. Pages from a diary. There'll be a lot more of these we find throughout the mission, but I'll wait till I find all of them to read it. Here's some more by the chest.
Something.
Lots of nooks and crannies in this house. And some of them hide dark secrets like this one. Take that ring. He won't need it anymore anyway. Now I think this secret door leads back down to the basement. Yes. And this secret door leads to Joseph Buxley's room.
Is that you?
Yeah, we got his safe key. Nice. Nelson. From Mr. Prosser's report, I gather that the air shafts from the family crypt indirectly connect to the sewers. This represents a vital security hole, so the thief could enter or leave the Farrington compound through the public sewage system. See to it that the switch controlling the ventilation hatch is relocated to a lockable room nearby. Captain Buxley. Dear brother, everything's going as planned. When they noticed the absence of several expensive bottles of wine, everyone accused Benny of stealing them. Even I had to defend him. Let me start that over. Dear brother, everything's gone as planned. When they noticed the absence of several expensive bottles of wine, everyone accused Benny of stealing them. I even had to defend him, but they'd have thrown him out by now. There's still 2 more 38s and a particularly valuable 41 I need to get out. Then I'll put one in the cheaper bottles into Benny's locker and blow the whistle on him. He'll end up in one of Cragscliff's fine cells. While we have a drink to our easily earned wealth. We'll see you next Sunday in the Cribblebrook Inn, Joseph. Find a way to let Benny know what the captain's after. Yeah, let's do our old buddy Benny a solid. Bit of a bone throat, and to him for all the trouble we give him. Alright, we're in the greenhouse. There's, believe it or not, a critical item for this mission here. Sea sponge. Do not touch. Gardner's notes. Although the sponges are still considered plants by scholars, I have evidence that This specimen's closer to an animal. It's still very alive. After being kept dry for several weeks, it reacts quite intensely to any water contact. Provided with enough liquid, it can soak up several pints in a matter of seconds. Apparently, its reactions vary on the quality of water as well. When I put it into a bucket of soap water, it almost completely repelled the liquid. Wish I had some holy water. I'd love to see what the sponge's reaction. I have to go back to the seashore one day and search for more specimens. That door, there's no reason to go through that door. It goes out to where a bunch of guards are on strike. Uh-oh.
I'll turn you up sooner or later.
Now these are the servants' quarters. To do. Send John to fetch some cheese from Wensleydale's. One of the Farrington brothers complained about the old-fashioned privies and suggested finding out who installed those modern toilets over at Lord Ashton's manor. The cold storage key is still missing. Louise told me she put it in the dumbwaiter with the dishes when she was in the dinner room. But back in the kitchen, the key had vanished. I wouldn't be surprised if some rodents managed to drag it away. And if that weren't enough, the pull to open the attic doors has disappeared as well. Now this opens that secret room with the chest. Since taking the stairs is tricky, with all that light and all of those, with all the light and all of the tile, we'll take the dump later up. But first, we need to get the key to the cold storage. There's a crack in the wall that looks in on that skeleton we saw earlier. Doing pretty well on the loot. We're over a fifth there.
Something there?
Someone making noise?
Library. Always one of my favorite rooms in a manor. Get what's in here. Then we'll look at that interesting looking book. Okay, good. Legendary Artifacts Part 1. Legendary Artifacts Part 1, a compilation in progress by Nadim, 5th Mage of the Dawn. Ezekiel's Sister Gemstones. Ezekiel, a mage attributed to precursor times, devoted his life to the study of stones and their magical abilities. He is most remembered for his expeditions, which ultimately led him to the discovery of 3 identically cut gemstones. And there was no doubt about the magical origin of these stones, because no precursor gem cutter would have been able to work with such perfect precision. Later, Ezekiel found that they radiated waves of energy when pressurized, but his studies were ended abruptly by the destruction of Careth Din. The sister gemstones were lost during the Cataclysm. The Zadormacost. The original purpose of the Zadormacost, a magical sword forged in the Hall of Embers, is surrounded by several legends, not few of them contradicting each other. It is believed that the weapon was formed as a counterweight to another magical artifact created at the same time. The sword glows in the dark and has the ability to damage unholy creatures. When brought into contact with holy water, the Zadormacost reacts by radiating extreme heat for a brief moment. This way, it can always be released should its sharp blade be stuck in stone or metal. The sword is currently in the possession of Akrab, 7th Mage of the Dawn. Safe here in one of the bookcases, but we need a key. That door leads to the balcony with the guy who was looking for me. This is the observatory. Scrying, the school of far-seeing. Restoration, the school of healing. Conjuration, the school of summoning. Necromancy, the school of death. There are all the guards that are on strike. Short treatise on the schools of magic after precursor times by Zacharias Forlong. Apart from the well-known elemental mages, there were several smaller groups devoted to other mystical faculties. After the downfall of Careth Din, 4 new schools came into being as additions to the 4 elements: restoration, conjuration, scrying, and necromancy. Restoration, the school of healing. The art of potion making plays a major role in the school of healing. It's an ancient wisdom that has been passed down through many generations. While healers in precursor times mainly focused on restoring people's health, there are many potions which have other useful effects today. Conjuration, the school of summoning. Conjuring extra-dimensional beings is an art largely lost in today's times. Summoners were quite common in Careth Din, but nowadays such practices are denounced as pagan rites. Scrying, the school of far-seeing. It's rumored that today's keepers emerged from the Precursor Guild of Enlightenment, although such a theory is based on a rather unsteady foundation. Presumably the scryers were the first to see the end of Careth Din coming, but the new emperor ignored their warnings until it was too late. Necromancy, the school of death, certainly the darkest of the 4. Necromancy is a faculty very much frowned upon by the majority of mages. Not just in precursor times was raising the dead or extending one's lifespan through them considered a blasphemous act. Besides, no matter how experienced a necromancer is, only the dead know what death really means. I'm particularly fascinated by the blue torches found lit throughout the crypt. They must have been burning for centuries without the need of any fuel or air. I tried to take one of them with me for closer studies, but as soon as I moved it more than a few inches away, it went out. Obviously, these torches are magical, another hint that these tombs were built by mages. Nice view of the moon. Very nice. This is Robert's office, but let's leave that for a little bit. Some artifacts on display. The Horn of Deloran, do not touch. Dofarb's Scepter, or actually spelled that way, do not touch either. Now we need both of these, but there's an electrical current that's running through the pedestals through wires, so we need to disable it. So to do that, we'll open this little door here and cut the wire. Now we got the scepter and the horn. this room is completely bare for some reason. Or is it? No. But I don't have the key. We'll be back here very soon. Two Hammerites here. Not too surprising, since the Farringtons are close supporters of the Hammerites. Brother Selliard and I arrived at late Robert Farrington's manor this morning. After a minor dispute with his heirs, Nathaniel and Geoffrey, we were allowed to occupy both guest rooms, since the beds in Farrington Church are already in use. The hammer of righteousness shall fall upon those who build their walls on a foundation of falsehood. As requested by High Priest Releg, we brought 16 eternal candles from Lightforge Cathedral. Farrington Church's occasional underground winds kept blowing out the common ones. Thy life is a trial, as thy path is strewn with deceit. Be wary of liars, for they take the builder's words and twist them with their forked tongues. I'm trying to find some rest, but Brother Selliard's chants keep me awake. I wonder why I can hear them coming through the western wall. With the same force a nail needs to be driven into the wood, a novice needs to be disciplined so he doth not stray from the one true path.
Is that me?
Brother Selliard, the recent demise of Lord Robert Farrington hath once again brought the question about the rightful heir of Farrington Church. As thou surely dost know, Robert's father Edward built the underground church as a donation to the order, but an ambiguous wording in his last will made Robert the exclusive owner. Although we do know that Robert was by far not as devoted a follower of the hammer as his father had been, it is expected that Farrington Church will finally be passed to the Hammerite order. It hath been decided that thou art to travel to Farrington Manor and attend the reading of the Testament as a representative of the order. Thy knowledge about secular legislation and the law of succession in particular might prove to be useful in this matter. May the hammer fall on the unrighteous. Officially, Father Terence.
There's one of the Farrington boys, Nathaniel. The Eye of Argon by Jim Tice. Luna, she was a good girl. She is with the builder now. Aww. Now, there's an archer out there, but he never moves so long as I don't make any noise. Now, I thought there was another note in that room. Oh well. Now behind this, there's a switch that opens a little nook over here. Over 2,000 loot. Getting towards that goal pretty smoothly. Key. We can use it to open the front doors, but it's not really worth anything since those guards are right out there, and it's never a good idea to go through the front door, but whatever. This is Nathaniel's room. Nathan, I searched Father's study and his office for an entire hour, but couldn't find anything remotely resembling a testament. Either the old bugger didn't want us to find his last will, or there isn't one at all. He arranged weekly bird fights down in the arena. From the bills I gathered, there must be quite some money around. I thought this house used to be just a vacation place for him, but it seems he was spending more and more time here during the last few months. What's with all those guards? He was paying more watch personnel than that paranoid Bafford. Speaking of paranoia, apart from the 2 exhibits in the showroom, I haven't seen anything that looks particularly valuable. Where did that old man hide all his wealth? I think I know where the entrance to the vault is. In front of that frightening death statue, I stumbled over a trap door. The plaque at the statue must be a clue on how to open it, but I haven't figured it out yet. Maybe it has something to do with the glass windows in the elevator shafts. I was too tired to try anything. It'll have to wait until tomorrow. I'm going to spend the night at Farnsworth's, since those arrogant hammers are still occupying the guest rooms. Don't you dare take anything for yourself while you're alone in the house. Just because you're 2 years older doesn't mean you're entitled to a larger piece of the cake. I'll see you tomorrow when the notary has arrived. Jeffrey. Lean over here, into this pot, and there's a purse. Now there's the late Elizabeth Farrington's room. It's sealed. Strangely, it sounds like there's a rope moving in there, even though there's not supposed to be anyone in it. Attention. On Lord Farrington's order, the door to this chamber is to remain barred indefinitely. No one is permitted entry without the explicit instruction of the Lord. Furthermore, do not try to relight the malfunctioning gas light. It will be replaced in the near future. The Captain. Enough messing around, let's get to it. Let's check out Robert's office. Burrick fights bet results 03-18. Lady of Ariel, bet Belchior. Stake 80, odds 1.25. Result 1, winnings 100. Sir Cullen, bet Grigner. Stake 150, odds 1.4, result 1, winnings 210. Lord Bafford, bet Poison Ivy, stake 200, odds 2.5, result lost, winnings none. Lady Winhill, bet Supremacy 2, stake 50, odds 3.6, result lost, winnings none. Lord Veloden, bet Deathstalker, stake 100, odds 1.8, result 1, winnings 180. Lord Dunswick, bet Clawfist, stake 120, odds 2.3, result lost, winnings none. Now, there's not many places a switch could be hidden, so let's look around. Maybe his desk, and yes. Those 2 switches get this open. Got a key to that wall, to a wall safe.
Can't the guy nap around here? Guess it's nothing now.
Oh, that was... good. I don't remember anyone ever coming into this office before. Whatever. Let's get the testament. Will of Lord Robert Farrington. I, Robert Farrington, being weak of body, but sound mind and perfect remembrance, praise be given to the builder for the same, make this my last will and testament in manner and form of the following. Imprimis, I give and bequeath unto both my sons the manor and the entire premises it is built upon. All the household goods not mentioned in this testament, including my grand animals, shall be equally divided. Secondly, I give and bequeath unto my elder son Nathaniel Farrington the ruby called Blood Tear. Its sister gemstones, Sunspark and Iceheart, shall be given to my younger son, Geoffrey Farrington. Thirdly, I give and bequeath unto the captain of the guard, Joseph Buxley, the Horn of Deloran, as it is exhibited in the northern display room. Fourth, I give and bequeath unto my handmaiden Sarah Brown the painting called The Hunting Dragon. Fifthly, I give and bequeath unto the Order of the Hammer the underground church known as Farrington Church, and the holy relic called the Talisman of Life. Hereunto I do set my hand and seal this 18th day of March in the 6th year of His Highness's reign, the Baron of the city. Signed, Robert Farrington. Okay, we got an update with the things we need, those 3 stones, the Talisman of Life, and the dragon, the hunting dragon. And as it happens, we got the key to open in the safe in that blank room. And this drops the walls. Not so blank after all. The Hunting Dragon, unknown artist. Looks nice. Now we need to look for the gems. Now, to find the gems, they're vaguely elemental in a way. Like blood tear, sort of like fire, or ice heart, or sounds like ice, right? And sunspark. There has to do with the sun. Anyway, those are their names are kind of clues. So, for one of them, we'll go back down to the basement and check out the cold storage room. This block of ice, chunk of ice. There it is. That's one. Also in the basement is the next gem. As it coincidentally. Anyway, forgot to show off this room before. Burrick stables keep this door locked. There's an elevator over there, but we can't get to it because of that gate. This may not be the last time we see it, though. Okay, the second gem, blood. We already got Ice Heart. The second gem. Blood tears in here, I believe. At least I thought so. Maybe not. It has been a while. No. I remember where it is now. No. It's not in the basement. It's somewhere higher up. Anyway. Now, I believe there's a switch in this room. maybe not. But can't get that, door because we need something to grab it. Oh yeah, there is a secret here. I can see a little bit of a gap. Let's see. Maybe it's in another room. Can't be far, though. Just thinking it over. I know that secret is there, so there's probably a switch in this room somewhere. Just a second. Yeah, I have a walkthrough right here. I kind of need it. I can do a lot of this from memory, but there are a few new points that I forgot. Let's see. Oh, I'll leave that for later. I do think I remember one of the gems being in that secret. Oh well, I'll come back to it later. There, I'm going way too slowly. Let me see. Well, anyway, while I'm down here, I might as well see if I can get that vault open. Now, Jeffrey said there's an inscription, and that might also be connected to stained glass windows. Ruins, saving the history, the fool, doomed, the city, Robert Farrington. Help the seedling grow that just broke to the surface, and light the way for the one who has left this world. Okay, to do this, we'll use a water arrow on this, and a fire arrow on the last window. I really hope nobody heard that. Okay. Now, this is the vault, but don't have a code for it. Gonna have to come back later. Check out the church.
Now that's big.
What was that I heard?
Needs must I calm my nerves.
Who passes there? Tis the builder's beat.
Outside! Intruders! Hurry! Timmy!
I believe this is Father Terrence. Now that all the guys are down, we'll go upstairs. These lead to the crypts. Attention! Due to the recent cave-ins in the ancient sections of the crypt, the entrance is to remain closed and locked until further notice. The key is currently in the possession of High Priest Releg. In case of urgency, thou canst ask him to open the entrance for thee, but keep in mind what hath occurred to Brother Sorvin. An additional key was given to the late Lord Robert Farrington's death watch. P.S. Brother Sorvin's body will be retrieved as soon as there is no more imminent danger of another collapse. Okay, so we need to find the High Priest and get his key. Interesting symbol here. That's Gamma, I believe. That's pertinent information. It plays in later in the mission. There's a gigantic organ here. Uh-oh. And there's the High Priest. Let's see what he has to say. Entry 147. Brother Sorvin again insisted on exploring the newly discovered part of the crypts below. I rejected his plea, but I doubt he will let this matter rest. He is too curious and disobedient for his own good. The Builder shall punish him soon. Entry 148. This place was never meant to be a house of the Builder. A constant feeling of anxiousness robs my sleep, although my brethren do not seem to sense the evil enclosed in the walls around us. Doubt is gnawing at the foundation of my beliefs, doubt about the principles of the hammer itself. Is it not a tool whose handle is made of wood? How can we allow a product of the trickster's followers to befoul our most sanctified symbols? I do not think that holy water is supposed to flow in these cursed halls. Thus I went to the sewers and switched the fountains to normal water. Entry 149. Brother Sorvin is dead. His curiosity drove him into the crypts, and a sudden tremor made him fall to his death. He was a fool. He left this world as a fool. He was a fool, and he left this world as a fool. I'm now keeping the key to the crypts in my quarters. What a jerk this guy is. And as it turns out, he's two-faced. Propaganda poster from our buddy Karis.
Brother, it is time to oil thy gears and sign to our group of pioneers. See the glory of our scheme. Join us. Join the Builder's team. I want thee for the Builder's team. Nearest recruiting station.
So yeah, he's secretly a mechanist. We got the crypt key. Dear friend
Dear friend Releg, the Builder himself is indeed pleased with thy decision to join the newly founded Mechanist Order and spread the word amongst thy brethren. We are still a small group of progressive individuals, but our organization is growing rapidly. As for thy question about my motives to establish a new order, well, while I do not claim that the Hammerite Order is wrong in all of its guidelines, I had come to realize that some of its principles are awfully contradictory. The finest metal gear is of questionable use when it is turning in a case of wood. From what thou hast written in thy last letter, I see that thou didst recognize such inconsistencies as well. Again, let me welcome thee as a new member of the Mechanist Order. As soon as thou hast completed thy remaining tasks here, thou canst at last put down thy old Hammerite robe and get back on the true path of the Builder, Father Karras. P.S. With this letter, I sent thee 7 announcement scrolls that thou canst use to raise awareness of our order in the streets of the city.
We're not quite done up here, so let's go back up to the mansion. Oops. Now, I believe what we need to do next is open that bookcase shelf in the library. But I forgot where the key is. Maybe I don't need the key yet. Vault door manual.
Hubston and Smith. High security vault door installation and maintenance guide.
Serial 1649T47651234.
Congratulations on your decision to purchase a Hubston & Smith high-security vault door. At Hubston & Smith, we strive to provide you with the very best in safekeeping and protection. Serving major customers across the city for 50 years, we have earned our reputation as an upstanding business and our renowned name in maximum security.
You skipped several pages full of self-praising gibberish.
Chapter 1, Installation. Thanks to the special alloy the security door is made of and reinforced concrete surrounding it, there's no possible way of entering the vault by force. Security tip number 13. Our doors are designed to withstand even medium-sized earthquakes, but be aware that very large vibrations could cause the security lock to reset it to the standard factory setting.
Browsing.
Chapter 3, the combination lock. This chapter provides you with an easy-to-follow step-by-step guide on how to change your lock's combination. This is a very crucial step, and you should take it as soon as your vault door has been installed. 1. Remove the 16 screws at the door's back to open the cover plate. 2. Push the buttons labeled A and B simultaneously and wait until the 4 small dials appear. 3. Turn the dials to set your new combination. Repeat step 2 and screw on the cover plate. Security tip number 32. The standard factory setting is the last 4 digits of the door's serial number. Change it as soon as possible and memorize your new combination. Do not write it down.
Okay. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a hard one to remember. Let's go back to the vault. Oh, pressed the wrong button. Okay, there we go. can't be mask. Okay. Let's see. This piece of paper in the cellar. There gives a clue. When 8 switches are blocking your way, look to the stars for guidance. Only then you will find the rest of me. And by stars, it's, the hunting dragon. It shows, so we need to make the switches' positions match these. So, let's see. Oh, there we go. The most evil vault. Or at least it looks like it. Oh boy. That's a good sign. Oh, that's even better. Good riddance. There's no use for that. As it happens, this is what we need to open the attic. Yeah, we almost got the loot. So now we can get into the attic, and that means we can find another of the gems. Uh-oh. There's something up here. Looks like a ghost. Many pages have been ripped out of this book, and only the last few have writing on them. What have I done? Only now that Elizabeth has taken her life do I realize the evil that has been at work in our family for years. I should have noticed his foul schemes much earlier, but I was blinded with curiosity and greed. He is a deceiver, using deluding words as a formidable weapon with which he has trapped me in the cage of malevolence. But now I will break out from this prison and follow my wife into death. The builder shall judge and punish me as he sees fit. Perhaps one day someone will find these pages and undo the ill I have dealt. Edward Farrington. Looks like Robert's father, Edward, had some dark secrets. Try to find all parts of his diary. goes to the kitchen, all the way down there. I'm not gonna jump. Down there is the balcony, but there's no reason to go there. Oh wait, maybe there is. I think there's a gold plate, but I'll get that in a second. Now there's the blood tier. Okay. Got 4 sets of the pages. The balcony key. Let's go back inside. Room, and we're seeing what's up here. Library safe key, finally. And it's that creepy it's the image of that creepy mask that we saw in the vault. I believe that finally moved that cabinet aside. Robert Farrington's notes. I've painted the image I saw in my dream, and now that I look at it, I feel terrified. What is this deformed grimace? Is it even human? It reminds me of one of the relics my father retrieved from the crypt before he went mad. The more I think of it, the more I am convinced that there must be a curse on the name Farrington. I wish my wife was still here. Martha could always lighten my spirits when I was in a dark mood. Her lively soul kept the darkness away. Now that Martha's gone, the strange noises in Elizabeth's bedroom have returned. It is as if my mother cannot find any rest, not even in death. I ordered the captain to seal off the room. I kind of got my architecture mixed up. I thought this went to the gym. This goes to Elizabeth's room. I remember now. I'm a descendant of him. And this is why I've been feeling his presence. A century ago, he visited my grandmother and gave her a child in her sleep, a daughter she always thought she had conceived from her husband. He planned to take her daughter away once she would turn 18, but his plans were foiled. Now he wants to use me for his evil plans. He's been influencing my husband, and his eyes are focused on my son as well. I even know his name, but I dare not write it down. I try to be strong to withstand his whispers, but I feel there is only one way I can lift this curse from my family, and this way I'm determined to go. I hope one day my husband and son will understand my actions. Elizabeth. Oh, no, I was right. It does. The gym is here too. But there's something in those panels that were covering the paintings. No big deal. We'll just flip them back up. Now there's the sun spark, but touching it hurts until it's doused. Okay, got that. Is that all of them? Ice Heart, Blood Tear, and Sun Spark. Yeah, we got all of them. Now we need to find the Talisman of Life. Never mind, I was checking something. Okay. Let's go to the vault. And then we're going to the crypts. I think. Oh wait, I was in the vault. Sorry. So much going on, I'm kind of losing track. What else? Oh right, Releg said that he changed the settings on the piping, so the holy water fonts aren't actually dispensing holy water. They're dispensing regular water, so we need to turn it back on. Here lieth the body of Lord Robert Farrington. Though he has left this world, his bequest will live on eternally. Uh-oh. It's empty. What could it mean? Anyway. I need to find the switch. Don't remember where it is, though. Here. Oh well, I'll worry about it later. Now here's the burial site. Need for the family. Edward Farrington, Bartholomew Farrington, Selma Farrington, Elizabeth Farrington, Martha Farrington. Oh, it was here the whole time. Ventilation hatch control. There wasn't a secret switch. My mistake. Besides a few pieces of loot, there's a secret here. Now, there's a clue here. Here, among the crypts. I believe one of them is facing the wrong way. On one of the sides. Or maybe I remembered that wrong. In any case, it doesn't take long to find it. Let's see. Alright, I know it has to be here. It's hidden behind a block. Which one is it? Whatever. I'll leave this for later. Need to go back to the library. That bookcase safe has important stuff in it. Oh, right. I need to turn the holy water back on. Normal water, holy. There we go.
This looks like the way out. That'll come in useful later.
Okay. Back to the church. Now, what I'm actually trying to do is get the holy water to use it on that sponge I found. That comes into play later in the mission. Whatever. Back to the library. Maybe I was wrong about that secret in the crypt. I don't know.
Honored Lord Farrington, as an expert on the history of the Dawn Order, I can say with utmost certainty that the horn you gave me to identify once belonged to Deloren, second mage of the Dawn. The mages of this order devoted themselves to finding answers to life's most fundamental questions. They lived underground, totally secluded from the outside world, and studied for many generations. It's not much agreement as to why the order was abandoned, but fact is, the mages decided to seal off all entrances to the Order's halls and leave everything behind. It is known, however, that there is still one accessible entrance, which is marked by the Dawn Order's symbol, a sun rising from the sea. The location of this entrance is shrouded in darkness, but it is said that it can only be opened by the call of Deloren's horn, the very horn that is in your possession, Lord Farrington. It is a relic of inestimable value, and I would be very intrigued to know where you acquired it, if you will forgive my inquisitiveness. Humbly yours, Antiquary Wayland Smith.
And here's the reason why the hammers can hear each other through the halls. This secret entrance. 1,000 ways to use thy hammer. There we go. We got all the pages. Entry 65. Forget the entries. Amazing. I just received a report from one of the men working on the sewer extension beneath the manor. Apparently there's an entire crypt, probably reaching back several centuries right under our feet. I knew there was something mysterious about this house, but if I hadn't agreed to Elizabeth's suggestion to move into her father's manor and live there, who knows who would have made this sensational discovery. Yesterday I checked to see the municipal archives to see if there was any information about ancient crypts southwest of the city and couldn't find the slightest hint. It must be true then. These corridors haven't been visited since the day they were sealed off. Dear Elizabeth suggested reporting this remarkable find to the Historical Museum, but somehow I find the idea of doing some exploration of my own very intriguing. A feeling of euphoria and restlessness prevents me from getting any sleep. I can literally feel the lost relics calling to me, waiting down there just to be found. Although it is not a precursor, this tomb is certainly very old. Some sections are in bad shape, probably due to earthquakes. Many ceilings collapsed long ago, and from time to time I can hear grinding noises coming from behind the walls during my explorations. I'd better tread carefully lest I get myself trapped in a cave-in. The crypts are unusually empty, although they haven't been touched by any grave robbers. Most coffins lack any customary grave trinkets, and some of them aren't even occupied. I found a few artifacts, amongst them a couple of masks, which curiously are precursor, and several old books from a so-called Order of the Dawn. Could this be a mage's tomb? I know there is something very valuable down there. I just have to find it. Oh, Builder, forgive my sins. I beseech thee, lead my misguided soul back to the righteous path of the hammer. The rest of the page is filled with incoherent scribble. Every night I wake up bathed in sweat. How could I have been so impudent and foolish to think I could plunder a crypt without upsetting the peace of the departed souls? All I could think of was finding the talisman of life, an ancient relic mentioned in one of the old books I had found. According to this book, the talisman is in an old study somewhere in the depths of the crypt. I was searching every stone in the tombs for secret entrances when this glowing figure came out of the wall, screaming at me in a disturbingly unnatural voice. No matter how hard I try, I can't get this tormented face out of my memories. The apparition stared at me with those black holes where there had once been eyes and told me not to continue searching for the talisman of life unless I wanted to raise all the dead around me. Next thing I remember was that I was getting back to the surface, my throat feeling sore from screaming all the way up. I submitted my proposal to the high priest today. As expected. They acted rather reluctant and skeptical, but I'm quite confident they will reconsider as soon as they get to see the underground hall. It is indeed ideal for a Hammerite church. I have no idea about the original purpose of this large chamber. Except for a strange ceiling structure and a gamma symbol engraved in one of the walls, the room is empty. If the priests do agree, I shall finally be able to do adequate penance for my sins, and my nightmares shall come to an end. The building of the church is coming along well, and the nightmares have indeed passed. I am trying to forget what has happened, but there are times when I can feel a strange urge to continue my explorations. I won't ever put a foot into those cursed crypts again. I gave the Order of the Hammer allowance to rebuild them for their own needs. The sooner the builder hallows this godless place, the better. The builder be praised. We have a son. It is very hard to put my joy into words. I had been worried about Elizabeth because of her recent nightmares, but Robert was born without any complications. Shortly afterwards, my wife told me that she felt a pair of eyes observing the entire birth with much interest. I am sure it was the blessing gaze of the builder, a clear sign that Robert will lead a happy and successful life. Jeweler Hilarious has not been as cooperative as expected. During dinner, I casually asked him if he knew anything about a ruby called the Blood Tear. He feigned ignorance. I offered him a generous price for the gemstone, but he still denied any knowledge. When I broached the subject again, he became rather annoyed and stood up to go to his room, telling me he was tired. There must be something about this stone that keeps its owner wanting to keep it at all costs. Hilarious will have plenty of time to consider it, or if it is really worth not parting with it. Astounding what wonders a few days' imprisonment can do to a man's memory. Hilarious was almost eager to tell me the exact location of the ruby, a hidden compartment in the storage room of his jewelry store. Blood Tear is indeed as marvelous as the book described it. I am sure Hilarious doesn't mind keeping the stone. He has no wife or children, and to hand it down to anyway. Thanks to the parents' manifold connections, I finally managed to acquire the legendary Ice Heart, a 260-carat blue topaz. It is amazing how the stones cut is identical to those of Sunspark and Blood Tear. The book called them sister gems. Now I can see why. The implication that they might originate from precursor times makes their flawlessness even more amazing. It is almost as if they weren't cut but always existed in this form. Last night I dreamt of a thief entering the manor and stealing my stones. I must hide them. I must hide everything. Ice Heart must be buried in snow. Sunspark shall be greeted by the sun each morning in the northeast tower, and Blood Tear needs a shady place in the attic. No one must find them. Nobody. What have I done? Only now that Elizabeth has taken her life do I realize the evil that has been at work in our family for years. I should have noticed his foul schemes much earlier, but I was blinded with curiosity and greed. He is a deceiver using deluding words as a formidable weapon with which he has trapped me in a cage of malevolence. But now I will break from this prison and follow my wife into death. The builder shall judge and punish me as he sees fit. Perhaps one day, somebody will find these pages and undo the ill I have dealt. Edward Farrington. Alright, now we need to find the Talisman of Life. guess that's what I was looking for. Five away from the loot goal. Anyway, not many places left to look, except in the deeper crypts. Let's see. That's the loot goal. We're not even close to being done yet, though. Oh yeah, I must have been right. There's a secret panel behind that crypt. I mean, coffin. So I need to find that hidden switch. Sorry, I'm checking something. Just a second. There's Sorvin's body down there. There has to be a switch somewhere. I have to lower that coffin. Oops. Close one. Ugh. it isn't a loose stone. Maybe there's something else I'm supposed to hit here. I know it has to be. There has to be a switch here because there's no other way to lower that coffin. I mean, it's not critical to the mission, it can be skipped, but there's quite a bit I'll be missing. I was right. This one's facing the wrong way. All of these are going to the right, but this one's turned left. Is this stone or earth? It's hard for me to see. Yeah, it's stone. Okay, there, I got it. Now let's go into that hidden passage behind the coffin. Sorry. Wait, is it option? No, it's not. I believe there's actually one part that's actually very required. Yeah, this is the optional part. This is the tomb of the nameless Riddler. As in life, so in death does he challenge those of a keen mind. Be wary if you enter, for mistakes will cost you greatly. Alright, first puzzle. Progress comes to those who listen. When a light goes out, a tear goes up in flames. Only once shall a man triumph over gravity. Now there's a loud noise here, and we opened a secret door. Now the second part says that a tear will go up in flames. What we need is behind that plate. We need to find a switch to open it. Come on. There are only so many places where that switch could be. Oh, right. Maybe... Oh, yeah. Of course. A tear goes up in flames and vice versa. Yeah, a light... Yeah, the flame went out and the tear goes up in flames. Alright. That's the second part. That's the second puzzle finished, excuse me. And only once will a man triumph over gravity. Now there's a bunch of swag over there, but don't get tricked. The floor is fake. So we're gonna have to jump instead. Luckily it isn't too difficult. Alright, that part's over. Let's go back to the tunnel upstairs. Now, I said the area, but the parts behind the sarcophagus were optional. Well, this part is optional, but the other part is very necessary. Sorry, I've been pretty sloppy so far. It's been a very long time. Now we're in part of what's probably the mage halls. Now what we need is down there. That's Zador Makost, the sword mentioned in the book in the library. Now we can't touch it because it's in the altar and it's extremely hot. It'll burn us to death if we touch it. But this is why I got the holy sponge. To dispel what's holding it in the altar. This is the ghost of, I believe, Akrab, one of the mages who originally had the sword. Yeah, Akrab. Alright. Now that we have the sword, now we'll go to the bottom them of the burial vaults. Down there is Sorvin's body, and also the way to the Talisman of Life. Gonna have to be careful because it's a long way down. Is this how I usually do it? I think so, yeah. There is a piece of loot up there I probably don't need. I don't think I need it, though. Oh well. I'll try some other time, I guess. Brother Sorvin's last note. Oh, Builder, forgive my foolishness. I did not heed the High Priest's warnings. Now I'm dying here, and I do not think rescue will come in time. This is for my brethren who shall continue my explorations. I found inscriptions telling about a secret passage in the corridor above, which leads back to the church. One of the body reliefs is different from all the others. Close to that relief, there is supposed to be a switch that lowers one of the sarcophagi into this room. One of the sarcophagi in this room. I do not know what lies behind it, but I found clues about a legendary weapon in a hidden chamber full of treasures. The world around me is a blur. I can Stranger, if thou comest unbidden, do not go beyond this point. Yeah, this is a pain. I don't know if I can set it off in any way without it killing me. Oh, okay. I can never do this without a lot of trial and error. Luckily, I have a healing potion. Damn it. Okay, that didn't set it off yet. I brought him here for a reason. Have to weight down these pillars. The rock will work for that one, and there's the symbol of necromancy that we saw upstairs. Only an offer of dead flesh shall grant thee entrance to my study. There's the talisman of life. I mean, one would assume. At last, Zraza is mine. As I expected, it was in one of the southern and Crayman caverns, not far away from the Dawn Mage's chambers. I had to pull it from the stony grasp of a large statue representing some kind of deity. The Craymen became rather agitated when they noticed it missing, but they weren't able to follow me. Fine. Despite the fact that the Zrashra is a relic created by Craymen, those primitive creatures have no idea about its real power. I shall call it the Talisman of Life, a much more appropriate name. I have installed and tested the 3 spires in the beta chamber successfully. Archmage Celiazar has been easier to manipulate than I thought, but the other Dawn Mages are becoming suspicious. Visions of the Netherworld haunted my dreams last night, and when I woke up I felt unusually weak. The Book of Soul's power is diminishing, and there are still 5 weeks until my secret daughter turns 18. At her birthday I shall take her back and perform the ritual immediately. Azakil came to my study today and delivered a so-called final message from the Order. He was obviously startled, seeing my face fully covered by an ancestral breathing mask. I took the letter and sent the scribe away. They are asking me to stop my unethical studies. Otherwise, they are going to take all necessary measures to stop me, those fools. During the last decades, I have been making progress in areas they refuse to consider. In the end, they will beg me on their knees to share my wisdom with them. I can feel the grasp of death getting firmer. I do not dare ever take off my mask, not even during sleep. Every new day that I awake in my miserable state reminds me my life is no longer worth living. I must go to the Alpha Chamber and project more of my essence into the Book of Souls. Otherwise, I can't endure this damned mortality much longer. That opens. Yeah. Oh. Okay, got a secret here. Something opened somewhere. Nice little bonus. And that... Uh-oh. I don't want to go past those traps again, so I'll come here to get out. Alright, let's get the talisman.
Only thing left for me to do is to make my exit.
Uh-oh. Sorvin was brought back to life. Oops. I can't do... Yeah, I'll have to wait for him to turn around. Definitely dead, Brother Sorvin. Anyway, we need to get out of here. Alright, I'm gonna go through that tunnel to get out, because otherwise I'll have to endure those horrible traps again. Okay. Now we just need to go through that sewer. There's that piece of loot I missed. Okay, we're almost done. A few weird things happened, but we got everything we needed. So let's get out of here. What's all this? This seems to be that elevator from the stables. Uh-oh. This isn't right. Dear Mr. Garrett, first of all, I want to thank you for your invaluable assistance. In a way, it is ironic having to hire a thief to find the treasures hidden in your very own home, but I was fed up with searching all the nooks and crannies of this damned manor for its secret hiding places. You see, my father was rather paranoid about his valuables getting stolen, and when he passed away, he left me with a testament listing items that were hidden away somewhere in this manor. I was never good at finding such concealments, and asking someone else to search the house was out of the question. Until I had a most ingenious idea of bringing you into the picture, a master thief, most skillful in his profession, but easily blinded by his greed. You are indeed very predictable, Mr. Garrett. Grimworth, the antique dealer who hired you, was none other than I in disguise. I knew the highly exaggerated story of my demise would be reason enough for you to go on this staged treasure hunt. Luckily, my two sons are as stupid as rocks, so it was clear that you'd be the one to find my testament first. And here you are, your bag filled with the missing pieces of my father's bequest. As for the horn and the painting, you can keep them. I just mentioned them in my last will so I could report them stolen and collect the insurance money. The other items I'm going to claim for you in a few moments. Goodbye, Mr. Garrett. It was a pleasure having you at my service, and I think you'll find your reward quite original. Best wishes, Lord Robert Farrington. Now we passed a door on the way here. Yeah, this is a pain in the ass, but whatever.
Is this a thief I see before me?
Yeah. We passed it. Past a small door on the way here, and it had the symbol of the dawn on it.
Is this a thief I see before me?
Yeah, this is a pain. But I can't think of a better way. But I can't think of any way around this.
Is this a thief
Oh,
I see before
okay,
me?
they don't automatically come out. Whatever. Okay, there's the door right there by the gate. And we're out of here. Okay. We're in a very old part of the underground. And it seems we've found the Dawn Order's abandoned halls. And we're in the library. Whoever may read this, these halls were once a place of research and learning for the Order of the Dawn. We were mages devoted to finding answers to mankind's most fundamental questions that should lead us to a new dawn of enlightenment. But alas, our order is no more, and this scripture shall shed some light on the circumstances that led us to leave this place behind. The founding mages of the Dawn Order chose this underground location because of its remarkable arcane activity. They let the miners carve these corridors out and the chambers to provide a space for the members to research and study undisturbed from the outside world. The Dawn Order flourished for many generations, but one fatal day, Archmage Celeazar decided to engage a well-known but very questionable necromancer to explore the subject of life and death. Kadar, so the necromancer's name was, abused his privileges exclusively for his own dark plans. He built the 3 chambers to perform a bizarre ritual, which he hoped would enable him to achieve immortality. He stole the Book of Souls from the Order's library and explored nearby caves to retrieve a powerful Crayman artifact. Fortunately, before Kadar could finish the entire ritual, 3 Dawn mages went out to oppose him. In the resulting battle, no one emerged victorious. The 3 mages perished just as their enemy. From then on, the Dawn Order was cursed. Archmage Celeazar lost his sanity and died shortly afterwards. Other members felt the underground halls disquieting and interfering with their studies. In the end, it was decided to leave this place and everything connected to it behind. We are going to seal all entrances to these halls except for one, which shall open to the call of my horn. May knowledge lighten your path to understanding. Deloran, Second Mage of the Dawn. Legendary Artifacts Part 2. Legendary Artifacts Part 2. A compilation in progress by Nadim, 5th Mage of the Dawn. The Book of Souls. Despite its poetic name, the Book of Souls is an extremely dangerous reading for the unwary student. The tome can change the words on each of its pages in order to ensnare the reader and eventually devour his or her soul. Countless individuals already fell victim to the book's evil spell. Since there is no known way to destroy the Book of Souls, it is currently locked in the Order's library for safekeeping. The Jra. There is not much known about the race of Craymen, but one legend tells about the Jra, an artifact said to have immense arcane power. It is unclear how the Craymen managed to craft such a powerful relic, nor is anything specific known about its purpose. However, there are rumors that the source of the large amount of magical energy flowing throughout our halls is the Jra itself. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else to find here. that switch opened in that strange chamber. Let me just look at these and then we'll go in there. Yeah, nothing else to do but go in there. Words of wisdom are written in this book, words that shall guide you through the paths that await you, the path that awaits you. Words of wisdom are written in this book, words that shall guide you through the path that awaits you. No matter what you are seeking, be it treasures or enlightenment, always remember the following advice. When trapped in a corner, the prey shall be the one to signal the beginning of the hunting season. The rising sun will be its refuge. Yeah, I forgot to read that before the barracks, but whatever. I wouldn't have done it any smoother anyway. A couple of pages fell out of the tome you're carrying. Welcome to my lair, Mr. Garrett. These are the ancient halls of a long-extinct order of magicians who once lived and worked here. I was a valuable member until fellow mages decided out of sheer jealousy to denounce my studies as unethical. Although you may not know me yet, I have been following your steps for a long time. Luring you to Farrington Manor was my idea, and it was me who told you how to escape Robert Farrington's trap. He was a mere puppet in my plan to bring you where you are now. Unfortunately, you are trapped again, and this time you shall help me before I let you go. I am Kadar, great magician and master necromancer. The ancient tome you are carrying, the Book of Souls, has been my last refuge for many decades. My only way to influence the world has been through the words written on these magical pages. Edward Farrington was the one who found this book. It was useful, but in the end, he failed me. His son, Robert, was a far less effective slave, but thanks to him, I could finally find you as the ideal pawn to fulfill my plans. It was your connection with the gemstone called the Eye that made me choose you. The power of the Eye made you immune to the danger of the talisman of life normally posed to a mortal being. Nobody else would have been able to pick it up without being turned into an undead creature. Now it is time for me to escape this prison and finish what I began so long ago. The purpose of this room, the beta chamber, is to bring me back to life. Use the artifacts you brought along, not only to free me, but be a free man yourself as well. You might be asking yourself, shouldn't you just toss the book in the nearest lava pit? Well, go on, try. Try to throw the tome away. You can't. The only way to make it leave your hands is to place it on the pedestal in the beta chamber. You'd better hurry, Mr. Garrett. There are craymen nearby, and they sense the presence of the Shra. Needless to say, you wouldn't stand a chance against them if they saw you carrying their holy relic. You must cooperate, because I am the only one who can bring you back to the surface alive. So yeah, we fell into another trap. Let's do it. Okay. We have to put the 3 gemstones here. It's 1, Sunspark. The 2nd, Blood Tear. And the 3rd, Ice Heart. They're the enemy, and there's our enemy. Unfortunately, we have to help him.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett, for bringing me back to the world of the living. You must excuse me, but I have more important matters to attend to than helping you escape. I am sure you will find a way out for yourself. Good luck.
I've had enough of this.
Yeah, he expects us to just let it stay. He expects us to just This let him go? Nah, that's not gonna happen. Nobody uses you as a pawn. Find Kadar and bring an end to his life. Another ghost. The Journal of Scribe Azakil. The very moment of our triumph became the moment of our defeat. When we forced our way into the Alpha Chamber, Kadar was completely absorbed in performing one of his bizarre rituals. A Krab strode up to the apparently oblivious necromancer and drove his sword Zadormakos deep into Kadar's back. But the blade went right through the mage and hit the altar instead. With a shrieking noise, the sword welded itself into the middle of the metal table. Too late, we realized that we'd been fooled by Kadar once again. And while his false image was still fading, the masked necromancer appeared floating above us in the air, laughing at our failed assassination. The fight that ensued must have rocked the walls around us. Kadar brought down upon us the full power of his unholy magic, and we struggled hard defending ourselves. Nadim was the first to fall, bitten to death by a horde of floating skulls. Enraged at seeing his friend and mentor killed, Akrab attempted to direct a frontal attack. A most surprising and foolish action. Apparently, Kadar didn't expect this move either, otherwise Akrab would never have gotten near him. He managed to pull the evil mage out of the air, and when they both landed on the ground, a book fell out of Kadar's robe and slid across the stone slabs. The struggle went on for a few moments until Akrab suddenly let out a shriek of horror. He had pulled off the necromancer's mask and revealed the cavernous face of someone who should have died long ago. A second later, Akrab was hurled away from Kadar and smashed into the wall behind him. Then he went down with a gravity-defying slowness, leaving a dark trail of blood on the wall. Now I was the only one left to oppose Kadar, but I knew that I, a simple scribe with mediocre arcane skills at best, could pose no threat to him. And from the mocking way Kadar grinned at me, he was well aware of this too. But then I saw how his eyes briefly glanced at the book lying between us on the floor, and the muscles in his face suddenly tensed. Only then did I realize that I had seen this tome before. It was the Book of Souls. More by instinct than by reason, I leapt towards the book, only to meet a massive surge of energy that threw me back. But as fate would have it, that book was affected by the magical blow as well and landed just a few feet away from me. Still stunned by Kadar's shockwave, I crawled forward and got hold of the tome. But by that time the necromancer was already standing in front of me. He held out a hand, haughtily expecting me to surrender and give him the book, but I mustered up the last of my strength and threw it in the direction of the sword. Although Zadormakos was stuck in the altar, its blade was still sharp enough to cut the book into halves as it struck the weapon. This had unforeseen consequences. First, Kadar flinched as if someone had stabbed him in the abdomen. Faint purple drops of magical energy appear around him, their glow constantly increasing. Then the necromancer started to scream, a most disturbing sound no human would be capable of. I had to avert my eyes from the blinding light Kadar was emanating. Then the world exploded around me, leaving me in total darkness. When I woke up, the first thing I did was look at my hands, or better, at the floor. I could see right through them. I had become a ghost, an undead specter bound to this place by a curse the book must have placed on me before Kadar died. Very quickly it became apparent to me that I was unable to touch or move anything around me. And somehow I knew for certain my two friends were sharing the same fate, confined somewhere else in this desecrated crypt. I strayed aimlessly for days, until I reached the Order's living quarters. My chamber had been sealed off, but much to my surprise, I was able to open its door and actually move around my personal belongings. This has enabled me to write down the events of the past in this journal. Kadar is still alive. I can hear his voice in my head. The Book of Souls that has been the source of his exceptionally long life. Kadar is still alive. I can hear his voice in my head. The Book of Souls has been the source of his exceptionally long life. When I managed to cut it into halves, Kadar could no longer keep his mortal form. He imbued himself into the book's pages in order to repair it. He is now waiting for some unwitting fool to discover the tome and perform the ritual that will bring him back to life. You skip a few pages. After decades of silence, the Book of Souls has finally been found. I can hear how Kadar is trying to persuade the unlucky finder, someone called Edward Farrington, to search for the items needed to perform the ritual. Something went wrong in Kadar's plan. I could hear Nadim's ghost talking up to the finder, warning him that taking the Talisman of Life would turn him into an undead creature. Edward ran back, screaming in terror, and shortly afterwards he threw the book into the fire. Unfortunately, only Akrab's sword can harm the book in any way. As I feared, the book has been picked up again, this time by Edward's wife, Elizabeth. Only now do I realize the gruesome entirety of the necromancer's plan. According to an old pagan ritual, Kadar has to conceive a child with a direct relative of his, and through this child he will reincarnate as an immortal being. For this, Kadar made a noble woman pregnant in her sleep with the intention of capturing the daughter once she would turn 18, but before that could happen, we foiled his plan. Elizabeth is the great-grandchild of Kadar's secret daughter, and she will be his target this time. But first, he needs to be resurrected, and for that, Kadar seeks somebody who can touch the Talisman of Life without being turned into an undead creature. Kadar drove the Farringtons into madness. Elizabeth somehow realized her connection with the necromancer and hanged herself in her chamber. Edward took his life in the attic shortly afterwards. It seems that Robert, their son, will inherit the manor when he returns to the city. I can feel that Kadar has something special in store for him, and that Elizabeth's death will not end this. You skip a few pages. I fear Kadar has finally found his perfect pawn, a thief named Garrett, who's been involved in occult phenomena before. Kadar persuaded Robert to stage his death and to forge a testament listing all the items needed for the ritual. No doubt this will lure Garrett to the manor. Curiously, the last paragraph's ink hasn't even dried yet. Mr. Garrett, I knew you would come here sooner or later to bring Kadar back to the living. As you know by now, he has fooled you. He is currently preparing everything for the last ritual in the Gamma Chamber. He's going to resurrect Elizabeth and give her a child that will be his reincarnation. You must destroy Kadar's source of energy before he can finish the ritual. Take the key to this on this table and leave our halls immediately. May you succeed where we failed. Ezekiel, 4th Mage of the Dawn. Uh-oh. The Craymen have the talisman again. So, we need to destroy the Book of Souls, else to stop Kadar. And the only way to destroy it is with the sword, but luckily we already have it. Craymen statues. There must be more of them nearby. craymen are dancing in front of that statue. That's one. No, that's how I came in. My mistake. Well, I have one flash bomb left. But I might not need it after all. There's the talisman again on that statue. Now, I forget. I believe the way out of here is near the statue. Wait, do they even attack me? I don't know. No, I guess they're so entranced. That's by the talisman. And they don't care. Now we're in some more tombs. Okay, that's one switch. Picked up a ward stone. We need the other one, I think. Here's the other ward stone. Here lies Armian Drake. His fear of being buried alive drove him into death. If thou canst hear signs of life behind this door, use the 2 stones to open it. And we fell into yet another trap. But there's a way out. Just need to find the switch. There it is. Oh, I guess. Oh yeah, the other one to drop the rope. There we go. And I believe this... Uh-oh. Burrick impaled on a stalagmite. One of the miners that helped the mages dig out the halls. The pain is gone. Now I can't feel anything from my waist down, nor can I move. I don't want to pass out, so I'm writing this. My workmates left to get help after the roof collapsed and buried half of my body under a ton of stones and rock. They promised to come back with tools to dig me out, but that was hours ago. If only I could reach that pickaxe. I can hear scraping noises behind the rocks. Bricks. That would explain why we had so many cave-ins recently. The beasts tend to dig like moles and often get themselves killed when their chaotic tunnel systems collapse. Why did the mages choose this location for their chambers? I'm tired. I guess a bit of sleep won't hurt. We're back in the crypt. Kadar's disinterred Elizabeth and is taking her to the Gamma Chamber, which the Hammerites unwittingly converted into a church. Screw it. Damn it! The miner again. Anyway. Sorry about that. Oh, missed the switch. Okay. Wait for him to turn and go lower. Kadar's up there. But let's get one tie. Oh, wait. Never mind. What was I doing? Anyway, let's get Kadar. Best to kill the haunts. Best to kill the haunts this way, rather than fight them in the usual way. There's Kadar, and there's one of his projections. I want to get that last haunt, though. Yeah, unfortunately, all the Hammerites in the chapel, I think Releg too, were all converted it into haunts. Yeah, I thought I just had to go up here, but then I remembered I have to get in another way because that shield is in place. And to do that, we need to go back through this sewer. We're back at the Burrick Stadium. No need to get revenge on Robert, because he's already dead. Everything went as planned. As I'm writing this, my brave animals are bringing an early end to Garrett's insignificant life. I can almost hear him breathing his last breath. The acidic gas in my Burrick's eating away his lungs. The fool tried to confuse them by blowing the horn, but he just managed to enrage them even more. The battle seems to have ceased. It's time for me to retrieve my father's bequest. The thief has disappeared. How could this happen? There was no way for him to escape. Something is terribly wrong here. I feel as if I have been betrayed. There's this sickening sense of someone watching me again. This time it feels as if I'm being laughed at. It's as if I just regained consciousness. I am frightened and confused, and my hands are shivering. Something must have happened. I feel empty, as if part of me has vanished, leaving behind a dark void inside me. For the first time in many years, the haze that's been surrounding my mind is cleared. I cannot believe what I have done. This plan, setting up a trap for a thief, what madness! Someone else has been influencing me. It must have been that strange book with its tantalizing promises of riches beyond belief. Someone whispered foul ideas into my ears during my sleep, and with every month, he gained more and more control over me. But now I feel just a distant echo of him. Kadar, yes, that is his name, has left my mind, but he is still here. I cannot explain it. He used me like a puppet, the same way he used my father before. He persuaded me to work out a plan that should lure Garrett to my manor. Kadar made me believe that the thief's sole purpose was to find the lost items of my father's heritage, but at the same time he persuaded me to include the horn in my forged testament as well, and now I see why. Garrett's true purpose was to release the necromancer from his prison. For this he gave the thief clues that would enable him to escape my trap and arrive at the ritual chamber. I just heard horrible laughter from below. He's coming for me. I'm of no use to him anymore, so he's going to kill me. Builder, forgive me, for I have... It's where he was watching us. Alright. The only way back is that elevator, which will take us back up to the stables. Oh, right. I forgot the switch. Sorry about that. here yet again, but for the last time. Kadar's nearing his plan and to gain immortality. But it's not going to happen. He's gonna die for good, and his dream is gonna die with him. There's the book up there. Have to get up to it and destroy it. Yeah, Releg was one of the haunts. Uh-oh. All right. It's over. He's gone, and good riddance. Oh. You have a sense for the dramatic, haven't you? On the floor where he exploded is the key out of the church. But first, one more thing to do. Put Elizabeth back in the grave. How very noble of you. You've put Elizabeth to rest. Now it's finally time to leave. it's complete. Sorry that it was so rough. Have I forgotten how complicated the mission is? Anyway, thank you for watching, assuming anyone was watching, and goodbye.